this forum. And once again, good morning to everyone. Depression may cause many symptoms and affect body health. And depression may weaken the immune system and cause increased susceptibility to illness. It will weaken your ability to fight off disease, as well as more serious. It will cause long-term illness, such as cardiovascular disease, and raise the risk of heart attack. People that facing depression have trouble with memory and making decisions. This symptom might be common in adults with depressions. Some people report difficulty in concentrate, and they might have trouble remember things and have difficulties with making decisions.
See, is there any symptoms the person would show?
Yeah. The symptoms of depression include overwhelming sadness, grief, and a sense of guilt. It may be described as a feeling of emptiness or hopelessness. Some people may find it difficult to put these feelings into words. It may also be difficult for them to understand as symptoms can manifest and cause physical reactions. You may also feel tired all the time or have trouble sleeping at night. Other symptoms include irritability, anger, and loss of interest in things that used to bring pleasure, including sex. And depression can cause headache, chronic body aches, and pain that may not respond to medications.
Okay, so depression does affect our body health. Dr. Lee, can you further explain how to identify whether a person is depressed or not? I'm sure the audience here wants to know about it.
According to the American Psychological Associations, around 9% of men in the United States have feelings of depression or anxiety. Males with depressions are more likely than females who drink alcohol in excess, display anger, and engage in risk-taking as a result of disorder.
Okay, well, that was an amazing explanation from Dr. Lee. So, Mr. Ang, is there any ways to prevent or overcome depression? Can you suggest some ways?
Oh, sure, I will suggest some of it. First, find yourself to participate in a hobby. It is important because it will give you a reason to do something in your day and keep yourself busy. Stuff up your calendar with events so that you won't be overthinking too much. Second, you can find an emotional support. It can be your family, your friends, or your favorite mentor. It's important that you can find someone to honest with if you are struggling with depression. Lastly, I strongly suggest that always having a happy thought, which means that think positively. Stop thinking everything to a bad end. Don't straight jump into the worst conclusion. This will prevent you from mental destruction. Well, these are the ways I suggest the most.
There are some great suggestions. Also, Mr. Ang, I would like to ask you about this suicide topic because it's picking up its pace nowadays, especially during this pandemic. Is there anything you want to say about it?
Well, from my point of view, I knew during this pandemic season, many people are suffering and they choose to end their life. According to the Straits Times, police had recorded 468 suicide cases in the first 5 months in 2021 compared to last year. It seems like the suicide rate has risen in this pandemic season. I would like to give some comment that if you are having suicide thought, please seek help from medical institution or tell someone you trust. Be kind to yourself. Sometimes it's okay to be not.
Yeah. All right. So now I want to ask Mr. Hong, how did you overcome your depression as a student?
My advice to those students who are suffering from depression is to try to talk to someone whom you can trust and rely on to deal with the problems you are facing. I believe in my case, it all stems from an accumulative of unsolved problems where I keep it to myself. It is always better to express your feelings or to say out your problems to the person you trust, especially during a time of pandemic. You tend to get lonely. I believe it's better to spend more time with your family and to, try to distract yourself from doing other stuff like, staying alone or something. Therefore, it's always better to spend time with your family. And you should always try to reach out to your friend and to catch up with them. Try to talk to your friends or to seek help from your friends. Trust me, your friends may not have the solutions to your problem, but at least they know they needed your attention and your help, the attention and help. And next, you should always inform your parents about the problems you are facing. It may be hard at first, but trust me, they are wise and capable enough to consult you and to help you out. My last advice to those suffering from depression is that do not overthink over a problem, because at the end of the day, no, all problems will come to an end. And then give yourself some time and don't be hard on yourself, because lastly, no problem in this world is worth more than your well-being. Thank you.
Great advices, Mr. Hong. On the other hand, Mr. Yo, how did you manage to bring your business back on track again?
I personally didn't know what to do during all those stress. After seeing the psychologist, I found out that I was hugging all the trouble by myself. The psychologist advised me to tell my troubles to my wife, and that indeed helped me to overcome my problems, and I can get some rest to rearrange my thoughts and strategies in improving my businesses. My wife told me that it wouldn't hurt to start over again, and then we decided to close 3 of my restaurants so that we will have enough to maintain the other restaurants.
Is there any advice you want to give to the people currently struggling in a business during this pandemic?
Well, as we all know, during this pandemic, most of the time spent by most people is on their smartphones. So my advice to people who are struggling in business during COVID-19 is that try to talk to your family about your troubles and think of a new way to do advertisements so that more people will know what you are doing and the product or services that you are providing. Hope my advice will be in help.
That was some really great advice. Did you all jot down all the advice Mr. Yo gave? It was amazing. Moving on, Dr. Lee, is there a level of severity of depression? Can you explain?
Yeah, there are a variety classification of depression, and each can affect your life in different ways. Depression may be classified as mild, moderate, and major. Mild depression involves more than just feeling blue temporarily. Your symptoms can go on for days and are noticeable enough to interfere with your usual activities. In terms of symptomatic severity, moderate depression is the next level up from mild cases. Moderate and mild depressions share similar symptoms. Additionally, moderate depression may cause increased sensitivities and excessive worrying. Major depressions is classified as having the symptoms of mild to moderate depressions, but the symptoms are severe and noticeable, even to your loved ones. Major forms of depression may also cause illusion and feelings of stupor.
Oh, so there's a difference of stages of depression. Mr. Ang, with your experience in the psychological therapy, can you tell us more about how a depressed person would think? What I meant by that is his mindset.
From my experience, I think that a depressed person always think that they are worthless and they lack of confidence, think that nobody will care them, and always thinking that they should go and die.
Oh, is there any ways to change that kind of mindset?
Well, you can try a talk therapy with a trained counselor or psychotherapist. They will give you advice which is useful. Besides that, try to look things and people around you. You will find that there's still many people care about you. You will realize that the world is still full of love. And lastly, learn to control your mind. Stress or happiness are within you. Only you can save yourself. If it's getting worse, please seriously seek for help because you only live once.
Yeah, as Mr. Ang said, communication is always the key when it comes to depression. Always communicate to other people when you have the chance. Coming into the last question of today's forum, Dr. Lee, I want to ask if there is any medication advices you want to give.
First, try to develop good habits by taking depression medicine at the same time every day. Other than that, don't ignore the side effects such as stomach upset, insomnia, and headache, and talk to the doctors to minimize the side effects and try to eliminate them to avoid long-term effects to your bodies.
See, is there any medication you would suggest for a depressed person?
Antidepressants, sometimes in combination with psychotherapy, are often the first treatment people get for depressions. If one antidepressant doesn't work well, you might try another drug of the same class or the different class of depression altogether. And here is some example of antidepressants. First is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, SSRIs, and it is the most common class used for depressions. Other than that, another medicine known as tricyclic antidepressants, which were some of the first medications used for treat depressions. Another type of antidepressants is monoamine oxidase inhibitors, MAOIs, which is used for the earliest treatments for depressions.
See, there are so many types of medication to cure depression. And also a doctor's opinion is always a must when you want to get a medication. All right, this is the end of today's forum. Once again, I greatly appreciate all the audience here and also the panelists for being here with us today. And most importantly, the thoughts, the opinions and advices given by the panelists. Thanks to them, we have learned a lot about depression, the effects of depression on body health and also mental health, the symptoms of depression, how the ways to prevent and overcome depression, and also the stories told and advices given by Mr. Yo and Mr. Hong. In addition, we also learn how to identify whether a person is depressed or not. And also we learn that there are levels of severity of depression. So I hope all the information provided today will be able to help you all to overcome depression and also stay positive in life. And remember, the world is always full of love. Thank you.